Verbs. Hebrew verbs. The most significant rules. A root is the origin or simplest form of Hebrew words. It is biconsonantal or triconsonantal. From the root, nouns and verbs can be derived. For instance, malak is a root word from which we get nouns like melek, malka, and malkut. King, queen, kingdom, respectively. And from the same word, we get malak, the verb. It means he ruled. Malak has a kametz first as the first vowel, and the second vowel is patak. Most of these verbs are written in this form. Stem. A stem is a basic form of a verb derived from the root, of a word derived from the root. There are active and passive stems. Active voice verbal stems are kal, piel, hifil. Passive voice are nifal, pual, hofal. Kal and nifal are simple active and simple passive. Piel and pual are intensive active and intensive passive. Hifil and hofal are causative active and causative passive. Hitpail is reflexive. To differentiate between simple, intensive, and causative, to break is simple, to smash is intensive, to cause to break is causative. There are 5 tenses in Hebrew verbs: perfect, imperfect, imperative, infinitive, and participle. Perfect is usually translated as action completed in the past, imperfect as action to be completed in future. Imperative is command, infinitive is a verbal noun, and participle is verbal adjective. A lexical form of verbs. In the lexicon, the verbs are listed in third masculine singular. Bisyllabic, they have 2 consonants and 2 vowels. The 2 vowels, as I said, are kametz and patak. Usually. The second syllable is closed, except for aleph or he endings. He ending and aleph ending verbs have 2 kametz under the first and the second letter, because the patak is extended. 2 kametz. For example, nasa. It means he lifted up. and ha, ya, it means he was. Both end with aleph or he, and so the first two consonants, they carry gametes. Examples of the other kind of biconsonantal, bisyllabic, third masculine singular verbs as listed in the lexical form are Amar, he said. First aleph carries comets and the mem carries patak. Yashav, he sat. Similar structure. Now we look at stative verbs. Stative verbs describe a state or a condition. In these kind of verbs, sometimes sere or holem replaces the patak in the second syllable. So the first syllable would carry comets. Gadal, he was great. Hazak, he was strong. Zakin, in Zakin, which means he was old, the second letter carries sere and not patak. Kharaf, he was near. Khaton, in Khaton, which means he was small, the second vowel is holem. Khadash, he was holy. These are the examples of stative verbs. They describe a state or a condition. Holo verbs. Holo verbs are monosyllabic verbs with unchangeably long vowels like hirek, yod, or surek. They are also called as middle vowel verbs or middle yod, middle vowel verbs. For instance, room, to be exalted. They are given in the kal infinitive construct. They are not called perfect verbs. Kal infinitive is translated as a verbal noun. To be exalted. Room is to be exalted. Sometimes regular consonants, yod or vav, as in the case of haya, he was, where the middle vowel is yod, middle consonant is yod, and there is no vowel, middle vowel, yod followed by comets, also occur, and it is also a holo verb because it has a yod in the middle. Such holo verbs that use surek in the middle, examples are mot, to die, kum, to arise. Such verbs that use hirek yod, examples are seem, to put or place. Such verbs that use holem vav, examples are Bo. Bo means to go, to enter. We can remember this by using this mnemonic. There is no room to be exalted. Room means to be exalted. Therefore, bow to enter. Bow means to enter. Muth to die. Cum to arise. Sometimes these hollow verbs are also called as weak verbs. Hollow verbs are not the only weak verbs, but hollow verbs are a category of weak verbs. Weak verbs begin with weak letters. Weak verbs have the following or may have the following characteristics. They may begin with weak letters like yod, vav, and nun. They may have two consecutive letters, like the second and third ones are as identical letters. They may begin or end with he or aleph, or they may have more than one guttural. Examples, all the hollow verbs that we talked about. Strong verbs have no weak letters among the consonants. Examples are all the Kalperfect verbs with consonants except gutturals, like Khatal, he killed, Shamar, he kept, Marshal, he ruled, Khataf, he wrote. Next we look at the Kalperfect conjugation from third masculine singular to first common singular, and then first common plural to third common plural. Khatal, khatla, khatela, khatalta, khatalte, khatalti. Now from first common plural to third common plural. Khatalnu, ketaltem, ketalten, khatelu. Here, while supplying these endings, the first step is to note the Kalperfect stem and add suffixes. Kalperfect third masculine singular is used, and then the suffixes are added. The second step is to identify the different kinds of suffixes. So there are vocalic suffixes, which are vowel suffixes, and then consonantal suffixes. The vocalic suffixes they appear only in third feminine singular and third common plural. Third feminine singular, the suffix is kamets he, and third common plural it is surek. So these are the vocalic suffixes. So first we would add the vocalic suffixes to khatal. So when we add kamets he to khatal, it becomes khat lah. But there is a problem there. It would divide the original syllable, the final syllable of khatal, which is tal, into two parts. ta, which carries pata, is an open syllable. And then there is la. However, the accent would fall on the final syllable, that is lamed kamitse, la. Therefore, to stress that part, the pata under ta is modified to shiva. It is a vocal shiva. That is why the kamits that lies just before it would receive a metek. So the final form would be khatela. The same thing is followed with surek ending also, and the final form would be khatelu. Now we look at the consonantal suffixes. The consonantal suffixes, after the whole khatao is written, we have to place the ta, tau followed by kamis, or tau followed by simple vocal shiva, or tau followed by hirek yod. Therefore, a syllable divider is placed under the lamed that ends khatao, and it is a silent shiva. Therefore, it becomes khatao ta. And the second syllable, the one that carries pata, is accented with a munna. So it becomes, the final form will be khatao ta, khatao te, khatao ti. Now we look at tem and ten endings, which are the second masculine plural and second feminine plural. They draw the accent to themselves because it's the final syllable. Therefore, the nearest preceding vowel in the preceding open syllable is volatilized to shiva, and the nearest preceding vowel in the preceding open syllables happens to be the kamits under the first letter. The long vowel, nearest preceding long vowel. Therefore, it becomes ketao tem, ketao ten. Now we look at the meanings. Kal perfect is translated as simple past many times. Simple action completed in past. Sometimes it is translated as past perfect according to the prior point of reference in past time. Sometimes it is translated in the present tense when it implies perception, attitude, disposition, or state of being, mental or physical state of being. Finally, there is another translation, which is the future tense. If the Kal perfect carries a wow conjunction, then it is translated in the future tense. Finally, we look at the parsing. Call perfect is, for instance, katelu is call perfect, third common plural of the root word katal, which means he killed. And it is translated as they killed. There are some general rules about Hebrew verbs. Hebrew verbs and subjects agree in number, gender, and person. It helps us to find the subject if there are more than one nouns in a given sentence or phrase. Pronominal suffixes are sufficient to identify the subject. However, sometimes subject pronouns are used to indicate emphasis. The word order is generally verb, subject, object. If the subject comes first, if the word order is changed, it indicates emphasis. For instance, lehem, lo, akalti. Bread, I have not eaten. To emphasize bread. Sometimes lo is placed before the sentence or before the verb in the sentence to express the negative. How to use the lexicon to identify the verb in a sentence. First thing we need to do is we need to identify the verb in a given sentence. Then we need to identify the prefixes and suffixes of the verb. Parse the verb. The verbal stem could be kal, nifal, pil, pual, pual, hifil, hofal, or hitpile. And then we have to identify the tense of the verb. It could be perfect, imperfect, imperative, infinitive, participle. And after that, we look at the root verb, call perfect, third masculine singular. And then find its root meaning in the lexicon. So as we talked about malak, malaka, many words come out of it. One of the words is malak, he ruled. That is call perfect, masculine, singular. So in this form we can find this verb in the lexicon. I hope it helped you to revise some of the things that we learned. God bless you.